The moment you start seeing emotions as frequencies, not feelings, reality responds differently. Most of us experience emotions in a very personal way. We feel anger, fear, joy, or sadness, and we immediately identify with them. Emotions become our identity. We say, I am stressed, I am angry, or I am happy. We rarely stop to ask what emotions actually are. But the moment you start to see emotions not as feelings, but as frequencies, your relationship with reality begins to change. If you want to understand why this happens, stick around and subscribe, because what I'm about to explain gets to the very core of the human experience. On a biological level, emotions are just reactions in your nervous system. They're electrical impulses. They're shifts in your breathing rate, your heart rate, your muscle tension, and your focus. They are dynamic processes, not permanent states. When you call an emotion a feeling, you treat it as something personal and lasting. But when you start to see it as a frequency, you understand that it's just a temporary wave of energy moving through your body, one that rises, peaks, and falls away. Frequencies aren't good or bad. They're just fast or slow, intense or gentle. The problem starts when you identify with one of them. That's when you try to cling to it or fight it. And fighting a frequency always makes it stronger. When you start observing an emotion like a signal, instead of as a truth about who you are, its power over you naturally diminishes. So why does reality start to respond differently at this point? Because the way you react emotionally influences your decisions, your tone of voice, your body language, and the choices you make every single day. When an emotion is perceived as me, your reactions are automatic and often impulsive. But when it's perceived as a frequency, you create a space between the stimulus and your response. And in that space lies the power of choice. People who seem calm in difficult situations aren't emotionless. They just don't interpret those inner signals as a threat to their identity. They allow the frequencies to pass through their bodies without building a story around them. This makes their reactions more appropriate and their decisions less chaotic. Most conflicts, both internal and external, don't arise from the situation itself, but from the frequency you bring into it. Two people can experience the exact same event in completely different ways because their nervous systems are operating at different levels of arousal. When you start to regulate your frequency instead of fighting your emotion, the entire experience changes. Seeing emotions as frequencies also transforms your relationship with so-called negative states. Anger is no longer a problem to be suppressed. Fear is no longer an enemy to be conquered. They become information, signaling that your body is responding to something that requires your attention or a change in your approach. Instead of asking, "Why do I feel this way?" you can start asking, "What is this signal showing me?" It's a subtle shift, but it's a game changer. When you stop treating emotions as something you have to control or eliminate, the tension in your life begins to dissolve. Paradoxically, the less you resist your emotions, the faster they regulate themselves. Your nervous system finds its way back to balance, and reality no longer feels like a constant threat you have to defend against. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about ignoring your emotions or faking being calm. It's about changing your relationship with them. Emotions seen as frequencies can be observed, regulated, and integrated. Emotions seen as identity lead to chaos and reactivity. This is the fundamental difference that makes some people's lives feel heavy and difficult, while others feel more fluid and effortless. So I invite you to reflect on this. Have you ever noticed a time when you stopped fighting an emotion and just let it be, and the situation resolved itself much faster? Share your experience in the comments below, because these observations can help others shift their perspective too. And if you want to keep learning how to regulate your own state and influence how reality responds to you, subscribing to this channel is a natural next step. We're just getting started. Thanks for watching.